to order, and we'll start with Rick's minutes. I think he's sent around and there was one correction. Any additional comments on the minutes? Do I hear a move to accept?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Just in case there was any misunderstanding on the issue with the metal detecting. On state, it's prohibited on DCR state property that DCR owns. However, the restriction that's on Mount Jeff does not prohibit it on town land. So we were gonna kick it over back to the Concom and they'll be able to give permission if they're so inclined. But there's nothing about the Mount Jeff restriction that says, nope, can't do it.
That's neat. Be interesting.
All right, Treasurer's report, Susan?
No change, it's been static in the money situation unless there was quarterly interest on the Hubbardston Preservation Trust, which I did text Kelly, but I only did that this morning, so she didn't get back,
Okay.
so I'm not, I didn't really give her adequate time. Otherwise, it's $248 in open space, rider is $4,191, Hubbardston Preservation Trust is $15,254.
That's not too bad. All right, let's see, starting with old business. I think we're in good shape with Destiny's Garden, that's all set and ready to just have Destiny proceed forward, right?
Yes.
The kiosk, any notes on the kiosks?
Yeah. I just approved everything to go into production 2 days ago.
Oh, good.
So in about 3 or 4 weeks, we'll have all kinds of piles of aluminum and signs and stuff coming in.
Great.
I gotta go talk to them over at Go Green, see if they'll receive the delivery for me.
Sounds great.
Take it off the truck. But here's the proof plate. That's what the signs are gonna look like.
Oh, wow.
That's just kind of,
Nice.
that's a little window out of one of the kiosk signs.
Oh, that's heavy duty stuff, isn't it? Oh, that's heavy duty stuff.
And the big kiosk signs will actually be printed the same
Oh, right,
on both
right, right.
sides.
Oh, neat.
So if the front side gets messed up beyond redemption, then you just put the sign around.
That's a
Wow,
nice
that's-
idea.
That's fantastic, this is really nice. And how much does this cost?
Not sure how to answer that. I mean, the entire project is like $8,600
Mhm.
for aluminum kiosks and 15 of the trail junction signs and 5 of the big kiosk signs.
Pretty reasonable for that kind of quality, yeah.
Heavier than a boat.
Yeah.
Great.
What's the material?
Aluminum.
The rough
So-
target date, so
yeah,
maybe
so that'll-
6 weeks or
So,
so?
yeah, I mean, probably about the end of May, we'll have it.
It's like
So early
I
June,
would-
do
I was talking-
installations?
flash.
Yeah, I was talking with Tim Colkini today, and about scheduling for the posts and for the junction signs. And he's all on board.
Good.
He's short-staffed this year. The DCR's having a real problem finding people to work for them, just like everybody else, I guess.
Cool.
But he's all in. I'd mentioned the Link Trail work as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. I mean, basically his message was, you know, I've seen what you guys do. Anything you guys propose, I'm gonna be, yeah, go for it.
That speaks well.
Right.
Get that in writing?
Sounds good. So that's great progress on that. Speaking of Link Trail, we'll get out sometime really soon. I don't know, and other people wanna get over there when we go over there, we'll try out our new little machine there to.
Are you gonna have a tractor there as well, or are you just gonna load up?
I might,
Yeah.
I might. The,
If you,
I'll figure out how much material we're gonna need there,
Yeah.
so,
if you had a tractor over there that was capable of moving rocks,
yep,
it would be nice to block off that road when you finish.
okay.
Yeah.
We had trucks in there several times this spring.
You mentioned trucks.
Going up Copper Mine or Cooper's, going up that road.
Yeah.
You get all, they
What
can't
day
get
is
all the
it?
way through though, right?
Well, no, they can't get out the other end. They gotta turn around and come back.
Is it
Yeah.
all rutted from with all the weather we've had?
Some four-wheelers at one point were coming in from the other, and they went up and over the hill and down. I didn't know if there's been
But
anything
this,
with
when you
that.
say truck.
This is trucks.
Oh, truck.
So what day is this?
And
I
there's,
don't know, how
there's
about,
a Jeep ran around the Malone Road trails this spring as well. Knocked down some little saplings and stuff.
what about, wanna do Link Saturday morning? Saturday morning work for us?
I'd have to look at my schedule, probably, yeah.
I can't do Saturday, but
Sunday?
I can do Sunday.
I can't do Saturday.
Or maybe we'll do it Sunday. Sunday works for us too.
So-
All right, we'll send a note
Yeah.
around about what time we'll be over there if people wanna.
And we would have to
See
bring the
that.
tractor to load that, right?
What?
We'd have to bring the tractor to load
The
He's not in this
dumper,
business.
Yeah.
crawler dumper,
that would take too much,
Uh,
you can't hand load that.
oh, there's, I don't think there'll be that, I could figure it out. I mean, we did a lot of hand loading, getting but I might bring a
Oh.
tractor over. But what Mark's talking about is the bigger tractor to put some good sized rocks there. So,
Yeah, I scouted, there are some available.
Someone come and make the hand load that thing again.
all right, we'll see if we can do
Remember
that.
that?
The update on land priority, Bob scheduled a last second meeting to make sure we had one in before this meeting again. But we've made some good progress. I think we ended up with a final structure, and I think maybe the terminology should be categories and then features for categories instead of categories and subcategories. So the things below a major category are features.
My printer ran out of ink, so you guys will have to share.
And we are going with a double weighted system, so, but there was a little confusion last meeting relative to quote-unquote score. So the way it's structured in the formulas behind Excel is there's a weight category, and then there's a weight for each feature, which is what people contributed to, and Rick took all that data and then averaged those things out. And then people will, whoever wants to be part of the evaluation process, will just do a raw score.
Yeah, so we'll walk through this real quickly. First page is an example. This is still a work in process, so preface everything with that. So this is just an example of what somebody that was evaluating a piece of property would be using. You'll see all the remaining criteria that we've talked about the last two meetings. You identify the property, and you'd rate each criteria, or score each criteria on a scale of 0 to 5. So that's what that would look like. The second page that you're looking at is just walk you through how we came up with how we're weighting and scoring everything, so you can see what the process was. The first column there after the criteria is the category weight we gave that you guys all saw the last couple meetings. Then everybody submitted, took those criteria and they provided their own weights, everybody on the committee here, and I poured those in and averaged them. So the second column there, committee criteria average, that's the average weights we gave each of these properties. And then in our meeting the other night, we tossed around different ways of using those two different weights, the category weight and the average weight from the committee, to come up with a single weight that we could use in evaluating a property. And after looking at that and talking it through, the way we came up with was to multiply the major category weight by the committee's weight. So we have one weight factor that we're using, and that's that combined weight column. And then when we start evaluating properties, which is really what this is all about, we'll take the evaluator's score and plug it in there and multiply the score by the combined weight to get a total score for that piece of property. And there are probably some problems, and anybody who wants to chime in after you've given it some thought and let us know what you think. But that's, so basically evaluator will go out and score the property, each of the criteria on a scale of 1 to 5, 0 to 5, and then we'll just plug it into this this format and come up with a score for the property based on how we weighted it as a committee. Does that make sense?
So the next step for the committee is gonna, for the subcommittee, we'll do some samples. I mean, we see how well it works and whatnot.
Well, Susan had a
Take some-
great idea on the way over here.
She did?
Yeah.
It's nice
So,
to hear.
As a test
Say
case,
that again?
as a test case, if everybody took an evaluator's sheet here with all the criteria listed and scored Parsons Road, where we were all there last week, right?
Well,
So
yeah,
let's
crash
use that
course
as a
thing.
test. I guess what I'm curious about is how close we come up in scores when we're all evaluating the same piece of property that we've all seen at least. We may not know everything about it, but at least it'll, if somebody comes out with a property score of, a weighted score of 200 and 4 other people come up with 50,
It's not working.
or if they're all over the place, maybe we have to go back to the drawing board and find out what the inconsistency is, and it might be in the
Well, I don't
method.
think because you will get variations. I mean, that's
Yeah,
the
but
whole.
how big?
Yeah. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
People are gonna have different opinions relative to those features, how
Yeah.
important that particular parcel is. That's the whole idea about going
Yeah.
through this.
So so we're talking about the 7.5 acre one out at the end,
That's a good question.
not the Fairy Garden,
No.
which,
Well, no,
Which
let's do
parcels are in parcel?
no,
What are we
let's
talking
do
about?
let's do the Fairy Garden, because everybody didn't
Oh,
go
okay.
on the rest of it, right?
Oh, Dave, yeah, you were there. You and your
Way
wife.
back,
You
yes.
and Ken.
I mean, this is something we at least all know something about. We may not know everything about. It's just for fun, and it might point to some problems with our methodology here.
What's the size of the fairy garden?
5 acres.
How much?
5.
And as I was looking this after my printer broke, ran out of ink, I'm thinking that on the evaluator's note, example here, there probably should be another column there for comments.
Yeah.
If somebody needs to explain, why they scored it a certain way.
Why they gave it 10.
On a scale of 0 to 5.
Yeah.
What did-
I really liked it.
Mark, we also discussed the comments that people made when they sent in their weightings of the criteria, and you had questioned a couple of, 4 or 5 of them, and we changed that unfragmented land area. We added not permanently protected to differentiate it. So you thought that it should all be in one category. The abuts or links to other conservation areas is the same as unfragmented land. And we were,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
another question, which was a great question, because we had trouble defining it ourselves, was within a town within a focus area. We had it within a town focus area. And again, this was one that was on one of the land trusts evaluation tool. And we said, well, what is a town focus area? So we talked about that, and the example that I came up with was one that we're currently talking about, which is, and this is just an example, it's a town focus area right now is downtown area. Is it accessible to the downtown? So Parsons Road, it's an easy walk. The piece of property that's being offered to the town, if they want to get connectivity with the downtown area, that would be an example of the focus area. And it's not for us to define that, it's probably up to the town to say, you know, this is an important thing for us. I don't know what other examples there might be, but.
Well, I don't know, just off the top of my head, I mean, the town rec field might be a focus area. Just like we said at the meeting, Comet Pond might be, any other town public area might, I don't know. Katie, do you know if there's any, consensus or definition of a town focus area?
Focus area.
Yeah, I know, that's a tough one, because that could go all different kinds of ways. I mean, I would agree with you guys saying that it would be something like that, either we're working on like a project like downtown, or a parcel that we already own that is a majorly, like the rec field, Comet Pond, Mount Jeff, things like that, that are already have lots of trails, lots of, you know, people engaging in different activities on the parcels. I would say those would be the focus rather than somewhere way off in the middle of nowhere that's connecting one. But then again, if it's, you know, it might be important if it's the only way to access the backlands by buying this one from a street view. So in other words, you could put it, but I would say that more of a focus would be something that we already have.
Yeah.
I think that should weight, in my mind, that would weight higher than something that would access to the backwoods. But originally, the reason why this was brought up was because when Chapter 60 land comes up, if it's something in the front that connects to something in the back that we can't connect to because that's the only way in or out. That was the original thought process behind grading these. But again, if there's no trails, that's gonna be a lot of work for the town, for the, you know, the open space to take on to start making trails, but it's not undoable, I mean, we just made one. You know? So I would pivot it back to you with my 2 cents, that's my 2 cents.
Okay.
And when I was redoing this thing yesterday, I realized that down under the recreation, scenery, culture, and historic resources are something that's an important focal point for community and/or educational activity. Those are probably the same thing, I would say, maybe. Then Mark, you had commented that under the wildlife and priority habitat category, the large tracts of undeveloped wildlife habitat and corridor was, you know, probably should be combined with links to other conservation areas. And we talked that through and felt that we needed to differentiate land that was important as a wildlife habitat or corridor, whether it be flora or fauna. You know, if the Fish and Game's designated as a priority habitat, for example, those kinds of things, as opposed to just necessarily linking to conservation areas. So we left that on there.
Okay.
And then, what was the other thing? Oh, we got
buildings.
the buildings, yeah. So yeah, we, there was one that said hazardous structures detracting from conservation values, and one that said hazardous structures. You know, I don't know what, or man-made structures, I guess it said. And we couldn't figure out what other kind of critter would be making a man-made structures. Would be making a hazardous structure, so we got rid of the man-made one. And then the only other one we discussed some more was the acreage question. You know, should we even be trying to weight or score that, because it kind of depends. But I think, my opinion at least, was that when we start evaluating pieces of property, that will be one of those notes that we'll write on the side is, we like this because it's a big area, It's only 2 acres, but it gives us access to, as Katie mentioned, and as we talked about, it gives us access, like the Vico's property, to a bigger area, so. So that's pretty much where we are with things. It's still a work in progress, so.
Yeah, it's getting pretty close, and I think just when we start doing some applications of it, then we'll just fine tune it a little bit.
Yeah.
Looks like it'll work.
So I'll send around the evaluator sheet, and if everybody wants to take the time over the next week or two to fill that out based on Parsons Road, and let's see what we come up with, and we'll pour it into this and see what it looks like.
So, how are we scoring unwanted features?
Yeah, that's a
Is
good
it-
question.
Is it gonna be a negative value?
Yeah, I agree. We didn't talk about that, but then after I was going over some stuff
Yeah,
today,
we
I'm
talked about it
thinking,
last time, and it's a puzzle, yeah, so, you know.
I assumed they would be negative.
They should be, they have to be negative.
it has to be negative.
Yeah.
It's a negative character category.
So the negative would be -0 to -5, or,
You know, when somebody scores it, I mean, 5 would be a very bad negative, so it'd be
Yeah,
-5,
to minus
right?
5, yeah.
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 But, I mean, what range are we gonna use? 0 to 10, 0 to 5, or does it go to
Well,
100?
just 0 to 5 again, it's just
Okay.
that it's a negative, it's a minus number.
Okay.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? Move on from that one.
Yeah, and I'll send around both of these. I apologize that I didn't have copies for everybody, but if, you know, give it some thought, and if you have any other questions or comments or suggestions or anything, just send them to us, and we'll take them up at our next meeting.
All right. All set with that?
No.
Let's move on. How about Hunter's Eagle Scout Project?
Step right up. Show them your sign too, Mark, what the kiosks are gonna look like. Oh, there you go.
Alright, so I had to, well, not really remake it, but re-edit it. Did you send that Eagle project proposal to the other committee members?
Yes.
Alright, so you guys know what my Eagle project's all about with doing all the, remaking the trail signs, because they're all falling apart, and putting trail markers on the trees, so that way you know where the trail is. Some people like to go the opposite way. Yeah, where should I start with this? Like, you guys looked at it. Do you have like any questions? Like,
Yeah, there's a number of things we're gonna have to talk about here, Hunter. One is on, you've proposed doing post-mounted intersection signs.
yeah.
That's already in progress. They're gonna be installed in June at all the trail intersections. They're gonna look like that. What I had thrown out, and we really can't have a proliferation of a forest of posts at each intersection. What we had originally talked about was the tree-mounted trail signs that are out there now. although these new post signs are gonna have all the necessary information, I think there's still some value in keeping the tree-mounted signs because they're more visible from a distance. You don't have to walk up to them and look at the little post sign, and a biker doesn't have to get off their bike. They can see what trail they're headed to.
It depends if you can actually see it, because there was
Exactly.
tree mounted signs, and
Yeah.
I've never noticed a sign. That's why I was thinking about having posts with mounted signs, that way you can actually see it. So that way you don't have to look around, it's like there, clear as day. And then having like trail markers, so that way when you see the actual sign, you can actually see the trail markers too, so that way you know you're on the right trail. 'Cause it's like hiking up, like let's say Mount Monadnock, they have like trail signs. So you see what trail you're on, so like the red spot trail. And then they'd have like markers that match up, so like a red spot going up the mountain. So that way you know what trail you're on.
Right.
So that way if you're on the red spot trail, you somehow manage to end up on the blue spot trail. That's why there's trail markers and signage. But with the signage on the trees, you can't really see it, because you gotta really look for it. That's why it's really like, there needs to be signs pointed into the direction in the intersections.
The posts, the signs that we've designed and the type of post mount, it's not gonna accommodate more than one sign on a post. Because
Hunter,
it's,
so you're thinking of signs like they have at the Audubon,
It sounds like what he's talking
which
about
is
is
a post
redundant
that
with.
has the name of the trail on it?
Yeah, it have like the name of the trail and then an arrow pointing off into the direction of that trail with the trail marker on it.
I can't remember what they have on Mount Monadnock, but the Appalachian Mountain Club has signs about, I don't know, 6 inches by 24 inches or something. They're usually mounted on trees, sometimes they're on posts where there aren't any trees.
So it'd be like 1x6 and 2 feet.
Yeah, something like that, and it's,
Is that
you
what
know,
we have out there, but they're just
About
not in
that
visible
high.
spots, so you could move them to visible spots?
well, I'm not sure the ones we have out there are quite that big, and do they have like a white background or something that?
No.
No, I always
No,
have
but
a-
they do have the colored trail mark, at least the ones that I see, I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure they have like, it's a yellow triangle, and they were recently in the past 5 years, painted or repainted to show what trail mark you're following.
Yeah.
yeah.
But I agree with you, some of them are really hidden. Well, not really hidden.
Is that because of
hidden enough.
overgrowth?
Yeah,
or
some of
just-
them just have vegetation in front of them.
Yeah,
Some of them
yeah.
are in
And
not great spots.
And then some are kind of weathered, so that the
Yeah, so-
paint's not as bright.
Right.
And there are specific spots that don't have anything, so it's confusing to know, because there's been lots of trails that have been created that aren't part of our trail system. And there's intersections with those trails that you're like, am I still on
Right.
our trail, or did I just turn onto
The bike trail.
one of the new trails? Yeah. So like, those spots would be great. I find them confusing, and I'm in there a lot.
So, the signs that you're doing are gonna be doing what, at trail junctions?
Yeah, yeah. It's basically at every junction. The red markers are the
Yeah.
intersection signs.
And how about at the trailheads?
Trailheads,
Yeah.
trailheads are the big kiosk signs.
So
Yeah.
isn't that a
Road sign.
duplication if know,
Yeah,
if he
that's,
creates,
that's the point, right?
That's what Mark was saying, like.
Yeah, but we knew this was in progress, right, Mark? I mean, you know, maybe we didn't explain it exactly, but perhaps you could be flexible and add just the sign higher, even though I know that's not exactly what you had in mind.
Well, I think
But-
you're also talking about having signs along the trail
Right.
and more blazing markers, is, I'm assuming you're saying, right?
Yeah, so pretty much trail markers on the trees and then.
Along the
Obviously-
trail, not just the intersections. That-
All right, yeah, no, there's two
Exactly.
pieces to what he's proposing. here.
Exactly, so, but you already have the intersections covered,
Right,
Right.
so,
so I think we should have them focus on the intermediate along the trails,
Well,
put
even
the signs there.
Are those, the sample you brought, Mark, is that all there's gonna be on the sign, or is it gonna have the trail names?
No, it's gonna have the name of the two trails, the junction we're at.
So my suggestion, not that I want to speak at this, because this is my son's thing, but maybe Hunter, then if they already, rather than duplicating with the posts, and that's where the actual heavy-duty hard work would be, trying to get the posts down there and hammer it into the ground and all that stuff, maybe we would make more trail marker signs, so that way they would be more visible, more likely to be seen. And not to like spam the woods with them, but pretty much make it so it's super visible with a good size, bright colored at the intersections, but on the tree. And make sure that they're not gonna pop off, and then do it along the trail as well. So in other words, if you did a few more, then that would solve the problem of putting the post in. We're not gonna duplicate the fancy signs that are already going in, but yet you're still accomplishing your faults that you think that there are with the trails, along with doing the dots. And if we come across those spots, that have the weird trails that go to nowhere that aren't county trails, we can make sure those have the signs to point in the right direction so nobody gets confused and lost, and we focus on that stuff. Does that sound like a,
actually, it makes that his project, right, Hunter? Not as much work. I don't mean that in a bad way.
no, I understand,
It's just a
yeah.
different focus.
Yeah.
Just the title of and then to stay on that track.
Yeah.
That's
It's still the
actually
same
a
thing,
good
you're just
deal.
minusing out the actual posts.
Yep.
But you're still making enough of those signs that people won't get confused by going off on the weird bike trails that aren't town trails.
Right, especially at those kinds of places
Yeah.
perhaps. But we don't want to be redundantly repetitious here. I guess we screwed up a little bit there. Does that kind of make sense? I'm putting you on the spot, but to have them higher and, would that be a problem? You'd have to drag a ladder
No, we can
around?
get it up there high enough, I don't see it, cause you don't have to be like, you're
Yeah.
not doing 15
Right.
feet in the air,
Right.
you're just, but the whole fact is this eliminates bringing, cause my whole thought was, all right, we're gonna have to carry
Cement.
4 by, no, it wouldn't even be cement, we were gonna do the spikes to hammer in, which I've done that. It's fun, it's super fun, they ain't coming out of the ground, and it'll take years for them to rot, but it was the whole fact of, we have to get them out there, and then hopefully hammer them in the first or second time without hitting a major rock.
Oh, right. That's
But also then bring out the 4x4, we're gonna have to carry all this out to the woods, cause it's not like you can just drive a pickup truck out there,
No, the DCR labor, I was talking to the park manager over at Dunn today,
Yeah,
and his laborers are gonna be the ones hoofing the
yeah,
4x4s
and
in.
that's what I mean, it's gonna be heavy work, which
Right.
I don't think he can get enough boys and stuff to help with this, but if we can eliminate that one stressful part and worry about doing the, what'd you say, Hunter, 1x6s? And make a nice colorful sign that has the symbols on the end that all match with the color and the symbol, to hammer in with a good spike into a tree with it having room so that way the tree can grow and not pop off the sign. And we can waterproof it and everything real good. I think you'd have better luck with making your visibility what you are talking about and not duplicating the nice kiosks that are already gonna be there that show the whole thing, the people can stand at the kiosk and look over and see, oh, this is the copper mine, this is the whatever, and they can see the dots and the red, and they can go right there.
It's kind of a hidden blessing in a way,
Yeah,
but it still gets the project done.
tell them about it.
Yeah.
Well, you can ponder upon that if you want. But let's also talk about the blazes, painted blazes along the trail. One thing is, we're not gonna be changing the color scheme. The trail colors are what they are at this point. At least in the same color family, you know, whether it's chartreuse or lime or, but I mean, yeah, trails that are yellow are gonna stay yellows, trails that are red are gonna stay red. And we're really not looking to do spray paint.
Well, I just put spray paint, cause I don't know what type of paint you use.
Yeah.
Hunter, I apologize, I got a book, published by the Appalachian Mountain Club, and it has a whole chapter on blazing trails, and there's information on making those trail signs. And then I meant to bring it for you tonight, and I'll get it to you. But they talk about the kind of paint to use. It lasts a long time, and
But it would
adheres
be
well to
brush applied.
Yeah.
Liquid paint. And we're looking to, I mean, the problems with spray paint are both that it doesn't last very long, and it's also just a big blotch. We're really looking toward moving to a crisp, geometric tinted marker.
Yeah, what do they do when they do those? Do they have a pattern, like a stencil?
Stencil?
No, you just take a 2-inch brush,
Mhm.
2-inch wide brush, and go straight down, you know, just.
I made
Whether you're making a triangle or a circle?
No, for a 2x6 rectangle I'm talking about.
Oh.
I actually made a stencil, cut a gallon milk jug in half and cut a 2x6 rectangle out of the half that's left. And you got a handle and you can hold it up there. It's a good way if you have people that aren't trained to
And
put
these
paint in
markings
these
are what?
places.
So like, you know, we have dot markers, we have square markers, we have triangle markers.
You just want it
So-
all to be a color and
I'd prefer to go with that. I mean, I could be convinced either way,
yeah,
but,
but that's how it.
at any rate, it should be brushable paint, either
Yeah.
way, whether you stay with the ball rectangles or whether you go with shapes.
Oh, okay.
The nice thing about all 2x6 rectangles is that the people using the trails get sort of programmed or conditioned to look for that shape. So it makes them, even
It's a
in low light
universal
conditions.
trail marking
Yeah.
shape, yeah.
So even the color change will tell you which trail you're on, but when you're walking along,
Still the same
your
symbol.
eye
Yeah.
starts to look for that exact shape, and it makes it much easier, you know, in low light conditions, like in heavy shade under the hemlock trees, or where you have splotches of sunlight and shadow. If you know you're looking for this exact shape all the time, and it's, like Mark said, it's nice crisp lines, it really makes it easier to pick out the blazes.
Yeah, I like that idea.
I think that's easier too if it's
And
all
plus-
just one.
Plus, for people that are used to hiking on other trails that use that
Yep.
It's standardized,
method,
universal,
it's-
as you said.
It's standardized, they won't be wondering, well, wait a minute, where's the triangles and the circles and whatnot?
So do you guys have a type of paint that you use? Like, is it oil-based, is it?
Preferably oil-based.
Okay, and just like stuff you get at like, so like Bear oil-based outdoor paint? Or like, I don't wanna, like, cause Destiny had the same question. What
I've-
kind of paint?
I
do
bought
you-
specialized tree marking paint,
Okay, where do you get that?
yeah, forestry suppliers. I can supply
You're
the
getting your
contact
chainsaw
information
safety
for that.
chaps.
In mail order.
Depending on what color you're doing, some of the Rust-Oleum professional enamels that are available at Home Depot are kind of a mixed bag. Some of them are oil-based, some of them are latex, but for instance, the red color is oil-based. So if you, and that's a pretty, I've used that, that's pretty
Pretty good.
comparable to the Barkmore or
Yeah.
any of those. But it's kind of hit or miss, like I said, on color.
How many different colors we have right now, off the top of your head?
We have blue, red, yellow, and this funky chartreuse.
Chartreuse green.
So four
Four.
colors, change it all to squares. And then the color can match the sign to the,
Correct.
So
There
basically
was-
what we're saying is go with what's in the book you're gonna loan them.
Yeah, I think that would be the way to go.
Okay.
do you guys supply the paint, or? Because that was his other thing.
Yeah,
he has
I
to
mean, we
figure out
haven't
who's
talked
supplying.
about it, but I can't imagine that a trail marking project involving paint would, I think we would cover it out of the Hubbardston Preservation Fund.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if we had paint left over, that'd be a good thing for us to have.
Yeah.
for
Things that
touch-ups,
fall
like
down
trees
or,
fall
get-
down,
yeah, or, we haven't had trouble with vandalism, really, so that's a good thing, but it could happen.
Is he gonna restore some of the wooden signs that are already up there, or is he talking about making it completely new?
I'd like make completely new ones because a lot of signs are like pretty much gone. Just completely make new signs, and any of the old signs that are left there, just take them out and burn them.
Nice campfire.
Not there. Just wanna reiterate that.
You did
not
say
there.
take them out.
Yeah.
That was good.
The other thing you'd mentioned, Hunter, on that map with the trail that passes under the title
Yeah,
box.
the Milpan.
That's the Milpan Trail. The reason I didn't include that one was that we keep talking about possibly doing a reroute of that trail, and I really don't want to mark it at this point in time.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'd vote for that.
You could mark the parts that we, unless you're talking about a complete, I mean, there's parts.
Well,
of it
let's go,
that are-
let's wait till we get finalized what we're gonna do. And, I mean, I'd like to see a
Trailhead
notable
part.
rerun on it, personally.
You know, there's a section on the, I think it's behind the chimney
I mean, if you just
trail.
wanted to
It's
do more
very wet.
distance, Hunter, we
Behind
can, we can
the
substitute
chimney?
it in a different
Yeah.
trail.
Oh, at the bottom?
Well, no, about halfway down, there's like a small stream.
Could do them all?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, that's
all right, yeah.
the,
Oh,
when you
yes.
come out onto.
Right.
Come out of that, come out onto Knesset?
No,
It's the
before
second
you get to
bridge
that.
up.
No, below the bridge, between the
Oh, okay.
bridge,
And the
second
other
bridge
bridge.
and Canesto.
Oh, okay.
There's a spot where the trail's flat and there's an intermittent stream that crosses the trail, old road there. And it's usually pretty wet. It would be a great place to have stepping stones or something put in there. I don't know
What trail is this? Can it still work?
no, I think it's behind, let me see the map.
Behind the
All right,
chimney.
pass me the map. I think
The chimney.
Isn't that it?
That's
Oh,
not-
oh, I know what you're
Jay's
talking
got it.
about.
This one? This-
Oh, that would be better.
It's behind the chimney after it drops down after that steep descent and bends to the right, and there's a pool of water on the right. And it continually, or very, very frequently
Oh,
floods
shit.
across the trail. Is that it, Tim?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know where that is.
I guess maybe it's before you go off the old road on the new trail.
Yes.
Yes, it's on the old trail.
Yeah, it's on the old trail.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
Before
as
you
you
hang
come
that
off.
left, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and there's
It's about
actually.
6 foot wide,
Yeah.
6 foot across.
Really mucky.
Yeah.
There's we were out doing some training on a new horse, and Gemma happened to be on one of the horses we were training, and water isn't its thing. And
Evolved it.
so she was dancing back and forth and said, up, and I think, so we did a covered, spanned the whole thing.
All right, so what do we need to do to
Yeah.
come to a resolution with Hunter here? Do you wanna think about this, Hunter, and see how you might want to adjust your?
I'm still a little confused on the signs that Hunter's talking about and the signs that you're doing. Aren't these redundant?
Not now, if they're a little different. He's focusing more on a higher, right, right, Hunter, that's an option. And then giving more specific directions along the
Well,
trails.
the kiosk would be at the junction.
At the
And
junction.
he wanted to put something at the junction.
Yeah.
With it, like the
Yeah.
arrows, but if the kiosks are going at all the junctions in the middle of the woods, cause he didn't realize the kiosks were going in the middle too, at all the junctions,
Yeah,
so.
so it's kind of the same thing.
Those aren't really kiosks.
No, they're not kiosks.
Yeah, that's part of the confusion. There are kiosks, what, 2,
5.
5, but then there's other signposts
Okay.
At the junction.
at the junction.
Right.
That are going in now, okay,
Yeah.
but are going to be installed brand new ones.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so either way, the signs are gonna be there, and that was the part that we didn't realize. We thought that they were, because when we did the trail clearing, we knew that there was gonna be new kiosks being put in, but we didn't realize there was gonna be sign markers, and he wanted to replace those. The ones that we saw
Yeah.
were sketchy at best, or non-existent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just-
and where I started this conversation was that, yes, it's slightly, I mean, you would have an indication of the 2 trails involved, both on the post-mounted, you are here, this is the way you're looking sign.
Yeah.
And if we put up tree-mounted signs, if we replace the existing tree-mounted signs with new ones, yes, it's redundant to a degree. But they also serve different functions. You can see the tree-mounted ones from further away.
Mhm.
And
And what's the
one-
size of the print on yours? I mean, how easily readable would be it?
Well, it's a waist height, so and it's angled like this, so you have to walk up to it.
And they all have,
Okay.
they all have a map, right?
Okay.
Is it, every one is a map?
Yeah.
Which can be confusing to some people that don't like maps, they just read and say,
Yes,
"This is the
they
trail
want,
and arrow."
they want the simple focus.
Usually people, they just look at the map before they go, and then they just walk the trail and never look at the map. They just only look at the signs.
Yeah, sometimes maps are nice, but so the you are here part like.
Yeah, so I think there's a benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. And then the cost is less for Hunter,
Yeah. to keep
and
up on
the
trees.
paint, 4 different colors, about how much would that be? Do we have any, like $200, 50 each or something like that?
That's a gallon each.
Just,
Yeah,
just,
it's
you
about-
just to
it's
be in the
about-
neighborhood,
it's
and
about
if,
40.
did I hear that we could, open space would do that? That would help your budget too, did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
Right, so that's another hidden blessing that's not hidden, so that's good. You
Yeah.
think?
I mean, none of, including if he does new tree-mounted signs, that's not major material costs.
Right.
I mean,
But it's still.
I would think that we could cover it unless you're really looking forward to fundraising.
No, not really.
I was just gonna say, what are you gonna do, sell cookies? You know,
No,
I
he was
mean,
gonna do a car wash or 2 if he had
Oh,
to.
well, I
If he-
mean-
If he had, cause I'm like, you go in there and you ask nicely, but there's no guarantees that A, there is any money, or B, they could just say, you're on your own, buddy, good luck with you, and, I'm like,
Well,
we'll do a couple car
you don't
washes
have
if that's,
cars that can
if
go
that's
off.
the case.
Oh, did you hear that?
No, I didn't.
We all have cars that could be.
There you go.
Tree-mounted signs gonna work at every
Part
intersection?
of this was on dirt road.
The only problem I have is with this intersection. Cause this intersection is
That one
weird.
is light, yeah.
I'm thinking of Old Cross.
Old Cross and Canesta Brook is a little deficient in trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would need a post there if he's gonna put that up in that location, or what do you, or just don't put them there?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose for specific situations, you could have multiple posts.
Any thoughts on if we do the tree mounted signs, or when he does the tree mounted signs, or what color they should be? We're talking about, you know, making them easily visible from a distance.
Well, I was going to match the color of the name to the marker sign that's out there.
Yeah.
So maybe a white backing then? Or would you wanna leave it natural, or would you want
That's
it
kinda what I
painted
was
a dark
asking, yeah.
brown?
The brown, frankly, is hard to see sometimes.
That's why I was.
But contrast defines
Sometimes.
outline,
Yeah.
outline defines contrast,
So if it's like a light yellow, then it might be better on a brown, but
Yeah.
then they won't all look the same. Cause like a light
we
yellow
want
on
some
a white.
uniformity.
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
You're just talking about the colors of the letters.
How about doing a
No,
symbol?
he's talking about the background of the sign.
Hunter, what about doing a sample of what, you know, you would think the size? And were they
Well,
burned?
that's the size.
Remember when you did the one at Mount Jeff, what did you burn the letters in?
No, they were already there, I just repainted it.
But they were burned in?
Yes.
Yeah, that adds another skill too.
They were
You
set
know,
in,
burned
it's
in
not
or
a
routed
bird,
in?
but a,
Routed.
tool. Yeah,
Router, yeah.
Oh, a router.
Yeah.
router.
I thought it
They're-
was.
Right, they're routed in,
Yes.
aren't they?
Yeah, they're routed in.
Hmm.
So do you have access to that sort of thing?
I have a plasma printer at the school.
No,
Whoa.
then- yeah, we're not doing that.
We're going high church, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think it needs to be.
But no, we have access to
Router.
router and
Oh,
tables
okay.
and things like that.
What
That'd be
about,
great.
what about
Yeah.
doing a
Faster, use the
sample?
plasma printer.
Yeah.
He's lighting up, he really wants to do that, but.
Sample?
Yeah. You know, kind of think about the color, the shape, the
Well,
size.
he was talking about lettering the color that the trail is marked in
Mhm.
for the lettering, so the only question is what color background?
2 samples.
We'll do one brown and we'll do one a different color for background.
Yeah, and then see what you think is most effective, but we would want them standardized, right? All of them?
Yeah, but I think what you were saying is that if you have yellow lettering on a white background and yellow lettering on a brown background, it's very different.
Yes.
Right.
But other colors like red would stand out differently.
Yeah, like red, if you put it on a brown background, would be hard to see.
Hard to see, might want that on a white background. but the other one
Contrast.
on
The
a
other
brown
option
background.
is you just leave it natural wood.
Right.
Would it need a varnish though?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
waterproof it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got,
It's like
Yeah.
waterproofing is easy.
just
I
for
got
fun,
tons of
that could be, and that,
Is the letter coloring, somebody gonna correlate that to the, well,
The trail color.
yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
it'd
similar.
be the
Right.
same paint as the trail paint to do the thing, so he would need some of the trail paint in order to make the sign.
So we know we already have blue, yellow,
Yes,
green,
4
and,
colors.
yeah. the
Whatever
red
those 4 colors with the
Right.
paint. and
Would
then
be
he
on
would make the-
something.
Yeah, he would make the sign, and then he can make this whatever size dimension square thing you want, and he can, like you said with the milk jug, we can cut it, because that actually was kind of a good idea.
Yeah, and cheap,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, as far as a sample goes too, I mean, you don't have to do a whole sample sign, you can just do one piece, one wood, and here's 4 inches of the background color and 1 letter on it, that's all you really need.
And see, this is what it would look
See
like.
what this is, get an idea what this is gonna look like.
Well, we know we're gonna be dealing with 4 colors though, right? So, yeah, so we already
Well,
know
and the
that.
issue is the background, so
background,
what
right.
these are like, so.
So,
Well, he could in theory make one sign and do each letter one of the colors,
Yeah.
and then repaint it over later to
Yeah.
do, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
fix the paint,
Yeah.
but that way you can see all the colors against that backdrop.
What's the
Efficient.
longevity of
Yes.
just the painted lettering versus the routed letters that currently are in place?
Routed ones are gonna last a lot longer.
yes, definitely. They look better too, they're sharper. or deeper, because they are deeper. How long would that take if you decide to do the sample? Like maybe have it ready for next month, or is that pushing it? Is this sort of an experiment?
Depends if I get paint.
Yes.
Right.
If you get him the paint, he can have it done by next meeting, for sure.
Well,
Next
you don't
week.
have to have the actual tree paint for the sample, right?
Well, right. We wanna have the 4 colors.
Yeah, but they just have to be close.
Right. So maybe you even have some stuff hanging around from some, just
I
this.
got, yeah, what I,
I got lots
This
of
is-
leftover paint.
well, I'm just, yeah, I mean, like, we can have, like, we have like arts and craft paint we can mess with, I just don't know the exact, how close are those colors?
I mean, I think it would be helpful, but if it doesn't, if
Yeah.
it's not authentic to you, it doesn't make sense. But I don't know, what do you think? It would sort of be something tangible too that says, I'm starting this project, I'm doing this. Because in your thing, you said, I got nothing at some point, and I laughed, and I said, oh no, for better or worse, you got us.
No, I
So-
got.
No, he fixed it.
I know,
was like,
I know,
was
I
like,
thought it was
That's
humorous at
easy
first,
for
but I
Boy
thought, you're not
Scouts.
in this alone, we're here to see you succeed in this, so.
Just to recap on the
Scope.
process through
Yeah,
this
process.
project. First, he needs to get a proposal
Yeah.
approved,
Gotta get
and then he develops a plan. And the detail that we're talking about right
It's down the
now
road.
is what would
Okay.
come together in a plan. The proposal doesn't necessarily need to know what background color he's gonna use and how that's all gonna come together. So people.
How about whether they're routed or not?
That's a detail.
It's a detail.
Yeah.
It's a detail.
Yeah, I would say so.
Because we want something that's gonna have a lot of longevity.
What's your current schedule on this?
Current schedule, whenever get this proposal done, cause I might have to re-edit it again. I'm planning on it, like, carry it out, I'm hoping by July, or the latest September, cause August, pretty much, it's vacation month. And then June, I'm pretty busy in June with a bunch of Boy Scout events. And we can't do it in May because it's gotta go up to council. And council takes forever. And then my plan on completing it is like October for like the report. Yeah, pretty much.
And get it done before bad weather, and that,
Yeah.
right,
Okay. So you do your proposal, you're gonna submit it to the council, and then they're gonna take their time with it. And so you don't see getting that back approved until May sometime? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
And then you can get into the plan and the details. Okay.
Do you feel like you need more information from us in order to submit it to council?
So we're getting rid of the post. I think maybe we're gonna have to keep maybe 2 posts or maybe just 1 for right down here, right by
Old Cross.
yeah, Old Cross it.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, get rid of the posts, except if there's no way to put a sign up, like at Old Cross, at the intersection of Old Cross and Canesto.
There's no trees.
For Canesto, you want me to go all the way up to Milpan with all the markers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. And what were the colors for the markers?
Red, blue, yellow, green.
Blue, yellow, and
Primary colors with the complementary, no, not com, what is it?
Are they super primary colors, or are they like not quite primary? Do we need to take a walk out there
Are they
with a bunch
like-
of
dark or light.
pink
Blue is
symbols?
sort of like a lighter color, right?
Yeah,
It's
the
not
blue
like,
is a lighter one.
almost like it,
You got two
That's
darker
looking
ones,
at that
visible on
than,
the trees, so a lighter blue.
What about the red? Is that like,
that's pretty red,
It's
it's
a red,
red.
red.
It's
It's a
a
fire.
red.
Yeah.
The fire engine red, okay. So that way he can come
Yellow
back
basic.
with a
and
sign.
yellow and the green
Samples.
ones?
Yeah, maybe like a lime green, bright green. Is that,
Yeah, that would be better than a darker green, it would be more visible.
And then yellow, just plain
Yellow.
yellow.
It's a pretty
Yeah.
pure yellow.
Sunshine
Yeah.
yellow.
Um, I need to put like, any signs like up here, like, alright,
No,
no,
not the road trail, that's,
alright, yeah, there's really nothing else
That's
to
right.
this.
That's gonna be from CPA for the new habitat.
Yeah, pretty much, it's got nothing else besides, I just have to edit it.
That's nice, oh, it has a clean out
so,
tool.
Yes.
so, you need to get
Yeah.
a signature from us in order to
Yes.
send it on?
What kind of birds is it? What kind of birds can you,
Small. I think just.
red,
like any kind of small bird, or is that
Right here.
specific, like,
I don't remember.
give like a small ones?
It'll last maybe 2 years, because the wood
Pretty.
rots, you know, so. But we're gonna do a walking stick too,
Oh, yeah.
of open space with a coupon. I don't wanna,
Is everybody on board with the concepts discussed? Can we, I mean, I'm sure you don't want to wait until our next regularly scheduled meeting to get a signature here.
Yeah, they,
Do you want to be deputized, Rick, to?
I've already been deputized.
Yeah. Just signed it.
Once he hasn't edited, removes most of the posts
Yeah.
and goes from spray paint to brushable paint.
Yeah. I've been making notes here.
So Rick can just, they can arrange to meet and get it signed off on.
Yep.
sounds good. Good.
you're on your way.
Thanks, Hunter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This project, I hope it doesn't get rejected by council. Be devastation.
I don't think it will.
Most likely.
Okay, that's Hunter's project. Gates Foundation, just a little update on that. I met with Travis up there today, and before all the vegetation comes in, so he could see what the project was, and the way we left it, he's gonna work on it as a fill-in activity. They're pretty busy doing road work in preparation for the big paving project that's, I guess already in the plan. But when he needs fill-in work, he's gonna try to get up. I had an action to just get him a contact at Graves, 'cause, as far as we can tell, there's no metal in that. So Graves will take it at, I don't know, $5 a ton or something like that. As opposed, if it's got metal in it, you can still take it to Graves, but it's like $20 a ton or something to get rid of it, so. So he was on board and sounded like he's gonna bring a machine up there. when he does do it, like a backhoe or something, then he's gonna figure out how to get it into his truck. That ought to be good. Link Trail, we already talked about that, so we're gonna do that Sunday, what time? 10, 11?
What time works for you guys?
11?
Yeah.
Give us time to do the horses and stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
About Sunday at 11? All right, so we'll be there, so if people wanna come out.
Try the machine.
Yeah.
fun.
Oh, just relative to, thinking about the open space plan update, how about, a subcommittee to pursue that, just relative to, you know, how it's gonna, get approached relative to using, you know, Massachusetts regional planning and, you know, it's something that everybody on the committee can contribute to.
Yeah.
But just like what we've been doing with the property evaluation stuff, you know, it's a little easier with a small group to keep things going, so. What are your thoughts on that?
Sounds good.
And then, who would like to be on?
That's what everybody wanted to say, it sounds good.
Silence.
We might have to put names in the
Silence.
hat.
Yeah.
Step backwards.
Silence is definitely.
I will definitely participate on a subcommittee. I can't put a lot of thought into it until July.
Well, we probably weren't gonna be talking about getting it going till then anyway, right?
All right, so let's, so people
Everybody
can.
can think about
Yeah,
if they wanna
because
be
we
on
probably
it.
ought to have.
I'll be on it, but I mean, I didn't say anything before because I'm pretty new here, so.
All the more
That's even
reason.
better.
New, but here's the
That
thing,
Dave's
you're
been
new
down
and you're
that road.
knowledgeable, so that helps.
You just volunteered, no. That's the perfect person, right there. Wanted to have somebody go talk to Lance. I'm new, well, that's good, you're nominated.
Yeah. I mean, I think,
All right, so let's just think about that, so tentatively, we have at least 3 people that are gonna be on that.
I mean, I think subcommittee is more for planning how we're gonna approach things
Yeah,
and then reach out
yeah.
to whoever we need.
Yeah, and then
You
once
get to
you,
tell who has
once
to
we
do
start
what.
figuring out how the approach to doing the update, then the people can contribute on various sections and things like
Yeah.
that. And I know there are some better samples, not to knock our current one, there's a tremendous amount of detail, but like, I think it was Gardner, and I forget the person's name, I went to Keystone with them, but they had a good sample, and it was a more abbreviated, but some of the detailed stuff in it get covered via appendices and things like that versus in the core plan. I mean, our core plan is phenomenal in the amount of detail and depth that it goes into, so but that can maybe get covered in the meat of it that relates to your planning activities would get covered in a more concise fashion with some of the just historical, geological, environmental details that the current plan has. Those are really valuable to somebody wanting to know the details about the town, but again, better captured in appendices or something, so. Anyway, so that's the kind of things that and then the roles that people would play would be the kind of things that this subcommittee would do, you know, what role would Massachusetts planning would play, and how we want to attack how all of it's going to get written, so.
Would it be a good idea to have someone represent at that May 11 meeting? Someone, not me.
I'm gonna-
Are you volunteering?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
volunteered last
Just to
meeting.
update those people at that session about this, because
We're-
some of
we're
them
coming
should be
for you.
involved. Yeah,
All right, that's good on that.
May 11, right?
New business, actually, I just thought of one thing. I had a talk with Becky Gallagher, that she's the president of Bay State Trail Riders, and relative to marking the trail with flags or paint, et cetera, every single year. What they've done over at Lake Dennison / Birch Hill Dam area, they have a small triangular sign just with a picture of a horse on it that's literally about that big. I mean, for the people riding it, and then that's the only, but they leave it, so it's one of these things put onto a tree or something, and it's just there, so you don't have to mark it every year. Any thoughts on that? I told her I'd bring it up. And so it would just mark the typical pathway that we have used, which covers a majority of the trails.
Yeah, isn't it practically every trail?
What? Yeah. It's the only one it didn't use, which we put on a map for them, was just the Malone Road Trail. If somebody wanted some extra miles to ride, then we put it on a map that they could go down Malone Road, and they had the map to follow. It was never marked.
Does anybody else, maybe it's just me, probably, that sounds like Times Square, with signs and chips.
I'm getting a little concerned.
I'm seeing, I'm the queen of clutter and princess of procrastination, so I recognize it when I think I see it. Wouldn't that be sort of cluttery?
Well, these are, if you...
I know they're small, but there's just one more thing that's out
Yeah,
there.
and I'm not strong either way, so we don't mind marking it. And I like the...
If they use all of the trails,
Would
That's
they
what
just use
that's for.
a map?
Kind of.
it seems like a map would be more useful to them if all the trails have the same horse symbol on them.
That's exactly what this project is about.
Yeah.
Do you think? And how often do they ride over at Birch Hill? Several times during the season then, or something, or?
Well, over there, a lot of the people in the club ride Birch Hill Dam.
Just all the time.
Just all the time.
But not all trails are designated for horses either.
Right.
Oh, yeah, well, that's, okay, that makes more
Where at
sense.
Mount Jeff, all of our trails
The
are.
trails are there, you
Yeah,
can use
so-
what you see.
All right.
I personally wouldn't like it, but I'm only one person, and I'm not usually squashing
done.
things.
I wasn't, I don't know this. It's just a thought, and I like the comments. Any other new business? Susan usually has something.
Oh, actually,
She does.
yeah, here is the birdhouse that CPA will be presenting to the new Habitat family.
CPC.
All right, the committee. Without the CPA, then we'd have no CPC. But anyway, and at the May 11 meeting, I'd like to give other boards and committees a little sort of, wouldn't you like to do this too?
Yeah.
For example, what's open space gonna do? Do you remember? This is a quiz.
When did we talk about it?
Oh,
Walking
about 2 meetings ago, and then I'm here to help you review.
Oh, the maps?
Yes, and what else? 2 other things. Well, actually, 1 other thing. Certainly maps are appropriate, and in the article in the paper, the lady said she loves to hike, so this is a natural. So maps, a coupon, very nice, you probably can do a nice one, where it says you are entitled to a guided tour by the Open Space Committee person. I'll do it if nobody else wants to. If y'all want to, that'd be great. And then a walking stick. Remember how you did one on the beavers for us? What sapling did you use? Did you skin it and then?
Yeah, I worked really hard. No, we
No,
just,
that's what I have in mind, and then put Ragged Hill, Hubbardston or something for her.
The Beaver Dam.
we just pulled it off of Beaver Dam.
Oh, it was actually from the
Yeah.
beaver dam, and it said damn beavers. Yeah, that was good. But anyway, something.
It was one they weren't using anymore.
Sure, that's good stuff, I like that.
Well, they definitely weren't using it anymore.
Oh, so if anybody has any other ideas, mention them, and maybe.
The beaver sticks actually make really good walking sticks.
Well,
Yes, they
it
do.
looked so strong,
They're
and it was so
they're all
clean.
rugged.
You mean, so the beaver did the job of getting the wood off?
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
you did that.
Really? Wow,
I
that's
hadn't
cool.
thought it through, but yeah, that makes sense. I should bring it next time so you can see what I'm talking about.
Steph must have 50
I was
of those.
whittling.
Anyway, so that's what we're doing. I hope everybody's okay with that. We don't have to take a vote. do
So,
we?
so do we need to all go out and walk around beaver dams looking for a damn stick?
All right, Tim.
If you like.
All right. Any other new business?
So, curious, Todd, did either of you put the, drive the pipe at the entrance to Malone Road?
Drive the pipe.
Somebody drove in like a 1.5 inch pipe at the opening there to the hayfield off the parking lot, where the rocks are spaced too far apart, and people can drive through and have driven through.
Oh, they put a
Somebody
pipe.
put a vertical pipe in there, about 16 inches tall, to block the entrance,
Wow.
which
So
I
who-
thought was innovative.
Dangerous. Would-
That's, I've got to think about it, but,
It's only 16
Is
inches
it okay?
high.
yeah. Huh?
Where
Like
is
if
it?
you tripped and fell,
Just,
you'd get really
just to the
hurt.
left of the mailbox.
Oh, okay.
There where the rocks are kind of far apart.
Just a little bit
And
apart,
there's,
yeah.
and it's a drive-through spot, but somebody cut it in half by driving a pipe in the middle,
Oh,
which,
it's a fair amount of work.
yeah,
I don't know how deep it is.
yeah, I don't know.
Huh.
But I'm not gonna do anything about it right away.
Does
but-
Lance cut that?
But we may have to, well, he goes through the gate.
Yeah, the
Well,
gate is
but-
to the field.
I mean, is it possible he did it because somebody was driving around on the hay?
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, we'll probably have to do something about it before winter.
I'd rather see rocks.
Yeah, I'd rather see one more big rock.
Around where
Um,
that is, maybe, or next to it.
Because, I mean, the problem is we don't prohibit snowmobiles there.
Oh.
And with an 18-inch snowfall,
You'd
that would be
never
just
see
below
it.
the surface.
Right. Well, and the fact that someone should have contacted someone for permission to do that. Or, you know, it's a good intention, but it's,
Yeah, I couldn't argue with the intent, but.
Does it, if you put a rock there, is that gonna make it hard for somebody to go through with a snowmobile?
Well, if you narrow it down to 3 feet, if you narrow the opening down to 3 feet, then it's just snowmobiles and ATVs.
Yeah.
Just blocking the Jeeps and the trucks is a worthy endeavor, I think.
so pre-snow, nobody will trip over it and die, right?
At
But we
dark,
wanna have this
at
settled
night?
before snowfall, I would think.
Yeah.
Figure
Night's
out.
probably when they're
Kids.
doing it. And
Yeah.
night's probably when they're getting in there.
Yeah.
We could mine it.
All right, any other new business?
Please, people see the pictures I sent, did I send them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Some-
yes.
Somebody drove into one of the fields that's just north of Malone
Yeah.
Road, Mount Jeff Hayfield. And actually, in last fall, I think it was last fall, somebody had driven in the field just north of Joe's house on the west side of Mount Jefferson. They didn't, it wasn't as wet when that happened, and they didn't leave much in the way of ruts. And I don't think there's anything to be repaired there at this point.
Yeah, it's gonna be an ongoing problem.
Yeah,
Not much we can do about it yet, I don't think.
right, I mean, put up a fence or something.
Yeah, that would be massive.
Big fence.
We did, probably 5 or 6 years ago, at this point, there was somebody with a truck that went where there's a metal gate right now, right next to the foundation, or near the
Yep.
foundation
Yep.
area. That was put in to block that off, because somebody went in there, that can get really
Mhm.
soft. And there must have been 18-inch deep ruts, and, but
Didn't they
they
get
knew
stuck?
the young person that did it and chased him down and made him come in and repair it. So,
Wow,
Ah.
that's good.
But yeah, like, in an area like that, you know, there's no way you're gonna block that off.
Yeah. Is there, are things like that, you know, where we're having problems, I guess it'll be in the minutes, right? Is there any other way we should be recording issues that we're having, so that we know?
Who would you contact, the town police for that? I know the state forest stuff, there's a different person.
Yeah, I mean, for enforcement, yeah, that would be the only option for enforcement, and they'd be happy to hear about it.
Well, I was thinking for our own benefit, I mean, you know, over a period, like, you've got the institutional knowledge that, of what happened north of
Yeah.
the foundation, to somehow be recording these things. I don't know whether it's worth.
I don't see that it makes much practical difference.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
The only thing you can do is just happen to see somebody and call the police and capture them in the act. I mean, once they go on and off, and nobody's gonna bother to try and trace tire tracks or something.
Right.
So,
wait till the kids grow up and.
anything else?
Don't
Motion to
forget your
adjourn?
homework.
What? What's that?
Don't forget your homework.
Next meeting?
Next meeting.
It's at the end of the month. I think it's the 25th, actually. Right?
The answer is,
Might be right.
No?
Yes.
Wednesday?
May the 25th.
What can I say? So that we're going for Wednesday then, right?
oh yeah, that works out good
Good.
for me. Gives me that extra day. And only when there's a holiday in there do I get screwed up then.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nice meeting